What is going on, everybody? Thank you for joining Tandy Time, your regularly scheduled Top Shot broadcast. We are one of the few remaining shows, but we're here just for you. Isn't that special? And we have a lot to cover today. We have a special guest. We have Ahmad Scientist. You may have seen him on Twitter. I think he was in a article recently. He'll correct me if I'm wrong on that. But we will bring in our guest, Ahmad Scientist, and get your science-related questions in the chat because this will be a little different than normal. And let's bring him in. We'll bring him in with a little figure it out since he's a scientist.
Figure it out.
Whoa.
All right, Ahmad, how are you doing? Thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And let's break down your drip. What's going on here with this drip? Look, you're all dripped out.
Okay, I got my OVO, Big Ups Drake,
Okay.
right here, October's very own. I got all the NBA teams on the hoodie with my Raptors up here. I
Mhm.
got some more OVO swag here, which is represents La Familia. It's
La
got it
Familia.
in Arabic in the back there.
So that's like a special OVO hat in Arabic.
Yeah, although I'm not Arabic, I'm Persian, I'm Iranian, which is similar but different. And then
Okay.
we got from the playoffs last year. Playoffs. The Oilers got the little necklace here. We're hoping for the Stanley Cup in the City of Champions in Edmonton this spring.
Okay,
So that's the
big
drip.
hockey fan over here. It's the one
Yeah,
sport that you can't buy an NFT of. How are you feeling about that?
gutted. Absolutely gutted. My whole life is culminating for the day that there's a hockey NFT and I can collect Connor McDavid breakaway goals. But Gary Bettman and his cronies at the NHL head office are depriving me of this joy. But hopefully one day, apparently, Sweet, there's a company called Sweet has the NHL rights, and we're waiting with bated breath on that one.
You think when they do that, you're going to go as hardcore as you do in Top Shot?
I think if I can make some more money, then yes, I will go as hardcore, but maybe not as hardcore. But part of my thing too is I want them to come out now and in a bear market, so they can be cheap, and no other hockey fans can be into NFTs. So me and my three buddies, who are five buddies, can go ham on them and corner the market, like
Right.
our boy Alxo and MBL and others.
Are you close with Alexo and MBL? Since you guys are all big spenders, VIPs.
So I don't know if the spending has anything to do with it, but I haven't had we're in the Twitter chat, the Wolf Pack, so I see them in there. I haven't had the fortune to meet MBL in person, but thankfully I've met Alxo a few times. So
Mm.
last year, for the last game of the year, I drove down. I'm in Vancouver, Canada. I drove down to Portland for the last game of the year and got like box suites and met Alexo there. We shot some hoops on the court after the game. It was really great. And then he came to Summer League. I'm a huge Summer League aficionado. I've gone 6 years in a row
Oh,
with
wow.
my loving wife. And then the Raptors in January played the Blazers. We drove down there and hung out with Alexo there. Me and Alexo watched some conference, just one-on-one time with Alexo watching NFL conference title games. So yeah, that's the story. And then I was actually hanging out with LG in Portland as well. So he came down from West
That's
Coast of
great.
Canada.
All the
Yeah,
heavy hitters, all the big time
yeah.
guests. And so are you walking around? How often are you wearing that big chain with the Oilers logo on it?
I mean, this time of year, as soon as Persian New Year hits, which is the coincides with the spring equinox, there's something in the air. Hockey season, the playoffs. So every day I have to wear this. It's my
Hmm.
obligation.
All right. Well, very cool. Do people do they ask you questions in the street? Like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing such a massive Edmonton Oilers chain? Or they just cheer you on? I mean, you're in Vancouver. They must not be cheering you on when they see that.
I think they their natural inclination is just bow down.
Bow
So they
down.
just bow down because their team sucks quite badly.
Okay.
So they see me with, 300 point scorers, the two best players on planet Earth, and they recognize the game, and they bow down to your boy with the chains.
Got it. Well, speaking of drip, we can bring up some current events here. Since this is Top
Yeah,
Shot and every piece of current event has to be as dramatic as possible, here it is. So that, if you're
nice.
listening to the show, was the drop for the new Top Shot T-shirt. Let's hear that one more time, just because I just made it and I'm proud of myself. So what do we think about that drip?
Was that made for the community?
I know you love the community, so here we go.
We love the community.
But yeah, it was made for the community. There were 3,000 of these shirts. 2,500 of them were available to whoever wanted one. Look, we can put it right in between us. Look how nicely it fits there.
Nice.
And yeah, so 2,500 people could get these. All you had to do was email. So that was kind of nice that you could just get one of these shirts. All you had to do was write in and you would get one. Otherwise, I think team captains got them. People in the creators Discord got them. So I will be getting one. But what's your take? Did you put your name in? Are you getting one just because you're a special man, or what's going on here?
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Yeah, I am getting one. I filled out the form, and I got lucky to be in the draw, and I got one. And yeah, I did the alumni hoops leaderboard. I ended up
Mm.
the highest I kind of clocked in was like top 16. So I'm getting the quarter zip hoodie.
Oh, there you go.
And so I'll be rocking that probably at Summer League, be one of the coolest people in all of Las Vegas, probably
Definitely.
ever with that thing on. So I'm getting a bunch of swag, and yeah, so I got that one. Do we know if Roham designed it himself?
We don't know that. That's been sort of a topic of contention. We'll talk about that for a second. But first, we have to highlight friend of the show, Boston Base. He says, "Can't block me here, Ahmad." Um,
Yes, honestly, I don't know why I did that. I'm sure Boston Base is a great guy, and yeah, be happy to connect. I've since unblocked him
there you go.
because I'm not one to fight.
Right. So that's breaking news. That's breaking news just for this show. Let's run that drop. This just in. Tandy Time exclusive. Ahmad Scientist has unblocked Boston Base. There you go. But anyhow, yeah. So let's get that drip back on the screen here. Some people had very strong opinions about this shirt. They were saying, "Oh man, like we don't like this shirt. It's too much going on this shirt. There's too many lines." And it kind of reminds me of the "I think you should leave" clip when they want to pay extra for the shirt because it's so complicated. I mean, I think you seem like a very drippy individual. So you seem to that you'd wear this without any issue.
Yeah, like honestly, I mean, personally, I don't think the design is all that great. And I saw on Twitter, it would have been better if like that image was maybe on the back, and then you get a little, on the breast, the left breast, get the Top Shot debut logo. Might have been, a bit of a better situation. But that said, yeah, I will have no shame or fear to rock this T-shirt proudly. So yes, I will
Yeah,
wear the drip.
I can imagine you wearing this T-shirt with the big Oilers chain over the top. That seemed to fit both very in your face and out there and out loud. And I would have to echo you there that this would be a very nice back of a T-shirt. I don't. It's like to think that the back of this T-shirt will just be blank, and then you'll have this massive Top Shot illustration. That seems like a bit of a missed opportunity, but who
Were
knows?
they
Maybe
trying
they
to
can still.
go for the
Yeah, maybe they can call an audible.
Were they trying to go for like the moment look? Like, is that like the cube of the moment, or but then there's cubes in each corner. So I
Yeah, I
don't
think
know, yeah, what direction we're headed in here.
the cubes represent the moments, I would say. And then this blue and green, not sure what that is. I don't know what those are, but they're half circle blue and
Yeah.
green things. Anyway, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Not sure.
All
Nothing on
right.
the back, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we're waiting. We're waiting that maybe to see that this is actually the back of the shirt. That's what we're hoping for. We're going to cross our fingers that this is actually the back of the shirt, and that someone just gave us the mock-up and showed us the back of the shirt instead of the front of the shirt, which is just a nice little Top Shot logo, Top Shot debut logo right above the left breast, nice and classy. You know,
Yeah.
business in
Definitely.
the front, party in the back. That's what we're hoping for.
Definitely.
So we'll see if we can put that out into the ether, and that's what we'll get. So let's just see what the chat thinks about these shirts, and also let's just play that drop one more time because we love it. All right, and the chat is saying, "What the hell is going on with this shirt?" Alexo saying, "Intern project." Boston saying, "It looks out of focus." Poker Pro saying, "The new T-shirt should only be for legendary holders." Well, that'll be interesting. And Boston thinks they didn't want it to look too good because we're in beta. Budavane saying, "No artistic purpose. It's kind of whack. I'll take one from anyone who doesn't like it," says Top Shot Hot Shot. So Top Shot Hot Shot seems to be our fan of this shirt. Daniel Slowinski says, "Just wear it backwards." That's a good point. But then you got, like, you know how the T-shirt, then it's like up on your neck. It feels a little uncomfortable. That wouldn't be
Like
nice, would it?
crisscross.
Exactly, like crisscross. They make you want to jump. The Mac Dad will make you want to jump. All right, so
We got to bring raising the roof back. You know.
yeah, raising the roof. Isn't there like a GIF from The Office where they're all doing this?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. We can bring the raising the roof back if you want to. So you were recently in an article, Ahmad. Tell the people who haven't read that article or don't know about that article, how did that come about? And remind us what you were talking about in that article.
Yeah. So it was a CoinDesk article, and it basically was MBL in the Wolfpack, just kind of putting it out there. Who's interested to talk to this reporter? Wanted to write an article comparing like NFL All Day and Top Shot, and kind of the different arcs that they went on, and what the differences are, and why they are the way they are. And so I spoke with the guy over a Zoom, and then yeah, he wrote this article
And
that went
remind
on.
us what your main takeaways were. Like what were your main points there?
So yeah, he ended up like quoting me quite a bit, which was interesting. Um, but yeah, I just tried to kind of share my perspective of why I'm. So I guess the difference with NBA and NFL all day was, with as you know, the Top Shot had a supply issue early on, and that's what kind of created this fever pitch of demand exceeding supply. Whereas I feel like NFL all day, hasn't had that crazy spike, maybe save for like at the beginning of last season, but it's because they came out with their Series One being kind of high supply right off the bat. Um, so yeah, that was kind of one of the main differences that I pointed out. I have the article here. Should I like post in the chat or
Yeah,
something?
sure, you could do that. But I
Yeah.
don't recall if you said that. Are you collecting a lot of All Day as well? Are you a big NFL guy, or are you just mostly into Top Shot?
So yeah, I collected on all day as well. I'm definitely more on the Top Shot streets, but I went and I collected a lot of Series One all day. So I pretty much have like almost all the common and rare sets from Series One all day, and then played the playbook and whatnot this year. It got a little bit too complicated with me when there was multiple playbooks, and kind of took away from the beauty of the playbook, in my opinion, that it was just 100 yards, one field that everybody's on. So yeah, but I've held on to what I have there, and yeah, I'm not as big of an NFL fan. Hockey's my number one sport, and then basketball is second, and kind of inching up closer and closer to hockey, and then NFL is more so like kind of third for me, and it's more about the fantasy football kind of gets me engaged. But with all day, I love the wide receiver moments the best, like, and the sellies after. I found that like with Series One all day compared to Top Shot, the quality of the moments is much better. Yeah, so another thing with all day, that I like the banner year set. I recently completed that one, and I like the concept of it being dynamic and updating throughout the playoffs. I'm kind of hoping Top Shot does something similar instead of dropping, 100 playoff moments. Like, give us something that, if I buy this dynamic moment now for, I guess a team that's maybe considered unlikely to win, like the Lakers or whatever, or my Raptors, and then all of a sudden they go far, and then you're kind of betting a little bit on a certain team that way, and I like that aspect of it. Um, so yeah, so I'm definitely on all day, but Top Shot, just because I'm a much bigger NBA fan, basketball fan, is a lot more where I put my focus on.
Wait, to explain that I did see those moments on all day where they
Yeah.
evolve over time. But explain what you just said about how it's almost like betting on the team. So they get released and then you purchase them and they somehow gain value as it goes on, or people just
Yeah,
want to
so
buy them more.
Well, yeah, like, as you know, these things can be fickle with the value of the values, but basically the banner year moments for all day, they released at the beginning of the playoffs, and it had like one play from each week of the season. So it represented like the whole season for a given team. So
That
if
is
you
cool.
held on to the Kansas City Chiefs one, each week of the playoffs added another, bit of the moment. It got a little bit longer. So the actual like moment or whatever changed, and so the further the team went, the more moments they got. And then and so currently this Chiefs one is the most expensive because they won, right? So I actually ended up pulling like a Philadelphia Eagles moment in a pack. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sort of experience this and ride it out. And they were one of the favorites, and of course went to the Super Bowl. But I was obviously dumb because I should have sold it, and because it cratered right after the game, after they lost. But it was just neat how they're kind of I like how they're tying in the actual game action to the collecting, and to the sort of moment values.
Yeah, I like that too. But did the Chiefs just help me understand though? Maybe this is a dumb question, but they
Mhm.
kept rising in value because they were doing well. Is it still valuable, or was it because they had utility inside of challenges or something? Or
The ability, it was just a matter of like you kind of want the one that wins the title, basically.
okay, so it was
That's
like
all.
intrinsic. It was user based value. It wasn't because like
Yeah.
pushed on via the platform or anything like that.
Yeah, and like I'm just looking at it right now, and so it's the most expensive one, $360 for mint count of 250 rare, and then the Bills are 178. So then, like, yeah, the Eagles are like 145. They're the fourth most expensive. But then
Okay.
the Bills, Bucks, and 49ers. So obviously the team popularity probably went into it as well.
So
But
yeah.
even the Chiefs during the Super Bowl, it was like 550. So you know how
Okay.
this stuff goes, right?
So
Should
there
have
was some
sold.
utility here. Top Shot, Hot Shot saying you could use them as wild cards for some challenges. So that's cool.
Oh, there you go.
And I think Treaticus is over there, unless it's someone else. But do we think we'll get banner moments for the playoffs? Yeah, we hope so. That sounds like one of the cooler ideas on all day. I'm not too familiar. I don't spend too much time on all day, but that I did
Hmm.
look at those moments, and those do look like one of the cooler ideas I've seen so far. And I'm with you. I hope that these playoff packs or moments or however they decide to distribute these things, I hope that it's something that is cool and a little more scarce than we've seen in past series.
Hmm.
Um, what
Yeah.
concerns me a little bit was like there was a recent newsletter that was saying like rare and legendaries will remain scarce, but then of course to keep them that scarce, they're gonna have to release other common stuff to make sure that those things make up less of the
Yeah.
total supply. So that's a little bit of a
Yeah.
concern, but we'll see. I mean, so you got involved on Top Shot quite early, I think. When did you first join?
Yeah. So you want to hear the origin story?
Go ahead, give us the Marvel origin story.
Then, yeah. So basically, it was Christmas Day 2020, sitting on my couch, relaxing, and I watched like those CNBC Make It videos on YouTube where they kind of talk about different business trends or different businesses. And then I saw one on there about sports card investing and how it's exploded during the pandemic. And so I've always been, so my boy Tony Kornheiser, Sean Kemp, who recommended me for the stream, thanks to him, is a guy I grew up with back in Edmonton, and we're in a basketball pool, keeper basketball pool. So I'm all about the keeper pools, because I like the prospecting of rookies and kind of projecting out who's going to have the best career. Like I picked Jason Tatum, for example, in the last round. This Sean Kemp guy says he's a basketball aficionado, but he slept on Tatum. So, there's that. But
Sad, real sad.
very sad for him. So yeah, so this concept of kind of digital ownership through these pools and keeper kind of was instilled in me. And sometimes in my hockey pool, I was like pretty hardcore, and I'm like, why do I care so much about this like hockey pool? So that idea was kind of instilled in me. So when I saw this sports card investing, I was like, okay, I can, buy sports cards, prospect these rookies, and if I'm right, like I was with Tatum, then it'll pay off. So I started looking into like the grading and eBay, and buying from the States, you have to pay customs and whatnot. So I was like, okay, that seems like pretty onerous. So then I typed into Google, I actually typed in sports card investing. And the first thing that showed up at that time was NBA Top Shot.
Hmm.
So then I clicked on the link, and then I was like, oh, what is this? I started checking it out, and I went onto YouTube and tried to find info on it, and there was like literally nothing. There's no info, like even about NFTs. I watched some Roham TED Talks or whatever, and kind of heard about the vision. And I was like, oh, this makes sense. Like if people, value a piece of cardboard with some rando picture on it, I think it's pretty cool to be able to collect sports highlights that have a lot more depth to the story of them. So yeah, so I started getting into it from there, and already that concept of digital ownership and digital objects was kind of instilled in me already. So and then in January things started going up quite a bit, and then February quite a bit after that. And it's like that light bulb moment as soon as you buy one and then you list it, and like a second later it's sold. You're like, okay, there's something like real going on here. So yeah, so that's kind of how I got into Top Shot and NFTs.
Got it. And as a scientist, you like what's your how did you apply the scientific method to like your experience on NBA Top Shot, right? You got an idea, you form a hypothesis, you collect the information and the data, you check against your original idea. How has that evolved over time since you began? What your hypothesis when you first began? How has that hypothesis been adjusted over the past couple of years?
Yeah, obviously early on, it was kind of the hypothesis was that people are going to want these and they're going to be very valued in the future, especially Series One. And obviously, the data it doesn't support that. So yeah, like I think from like a money standpoint and the sports card investing and being able to kind of prospect players, there can be a bit of that, but yeah, it's definitely not the case. So definitely things have evolved, and um, I try to kind of focus on just buying now what I want and not really try to think about flipping. Like I don't know if you do any of the ETH NFTs, but I kind of dabbled in that a bit. And, I heard about the Nakamigos, like, March 8th or whatever it was. And, but yeah, I slept on it and, down bad as a result. I missed the generational wealth once again. But, but yeah, but at the same time, I know that if I had it, I'd be like stressed. Okay, the price is going up to point 0.4. Okay, should I sell? And then go up to point 0.9. So I just found that like that was adding so much stress to my life that I'm like, I already have enough stress like through my work. I might, I'll just keep my stress for that, and I'll keep this as more of a hobby. But yeah, I guess I didn't really apply the scientific method to this, but at the same time, just looking objectively, like as I said, like compared to sports cards where we don't have that transparency, we don't know like how many are printed from a lot of these cards, having to like ship stuff to be graded and wait a year or more. You have to ensure what you're grading. You have to worry that it's gonna not get broken or damaged in shipping. Then, like if I want to sell a sports card, probably like Canada as my main addressable market because people in the US and beyond aren't going to want to pay customs. So, but with Top Shot, I can list my store could be open. I can list anything right now, and someone anywhere around the world can buy it in seconds. Like, I just think objectively, from a collectible standpoint, it's better. And I guess I'm a believer like the cream rises to the top. So eventually, my hope obviously is that the things will kind of improve in terms of the values and whatnot. Um, but yeah, I guess that's kind of how things have evolved.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think everyone in this chat probably had that exact same experience. And I think taking it to like a scientific level, you have your fixed variables, right? And your, I guess, variables. I don't know. You have your fixed and your variables, right? Am I remembering this correctly?
Yeah,
So
you have the control group, and then you have then with the control variables, and then you change something up in the intervention group.
exactly. So the variable part that no one really knew about was like how much more of this stuff comes and when does it come? And I mean, we talk about supply every week and everyone's bored of talking about supply, but that'll make a big difference. Anyway, moving right along.
You got to
Uh,
hit me with a Roham video, though. I've said Roham twice now.
oh, shoot, man, I'm slacking. I'm slacking.
Rohan.
Oh, speaking of Roham, what did you think? What did you think of the recent Roham news? Were you affected by that? What did you think? It was fake news? Was it worthwhile? How did you feel about all that Roham stuff? And now they're posting videos of Roham going shopping in the shopping mall inside of the designer clothing store. People are running up on him. What's going on over here? What's your take on this?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think like that video was like extremely creepy. Like that guy is being a douchebag. I think he's lucky that Roham didn't like pop him. Um, but yeah, I guess my thoughts on like the article. I think definitely I think it's like a bad look for sure with just the sentiment in the community and whatnot and the scrutiny that he is under from community members. And also it's a bad look probably internally that you're laying off a bunch of people and then you're having this image of living lavish and private jets and whatnot.
Right.
That said, I think he kind of quelled the concerns quite a bit by like kind of coming out and saying a lot of that was my personal stuff. I guess like we may never know because it's a private company, but at the same time, how do we know? He's into crypto early. How do we know he didn't like load up on Ethereum when it first came up, or Ether when it first came out, or he doesn't have a ton of Bitcoin, lying around somewhere, right? And I think his Axiom Zen, which was before Dapper, invested in a lot of different companies, and he went to I think Stanford, so he's probably connected with VCs and been involved with a lot of companies. Like, how do we know that he's not sort of acquired this money from other means type thing? And in other situations, CEOs can be, I guess, rude to staff, like we had Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or whatever, and they're praised for their business acumen and whatnot. So I think, and that is like, oh, what he was kind of stern with people. I don't think that's like that serious either. But yeah, at the same time, I think he does need to try to be cautious about how that kind of presents with the fact of the market and with his staff. So
Yeah, you make a good point though. Like Elon Musk will like basically blast a disabled worker in a Twitter chat, and then people forget about it the next day. But for some reason, our lovely community just can't get rid of those thoughts in their head sometimes, and they just get stuck on it. Um, but that's what makes it more interesting to me. What do you? How about let's change it up? New drop, Top Shot 50. You're in the VIP. You're in the Nine Lives Lounge. You're in all these different things. Are you? Did you get one of
NLL,
those?
we need an NLL
Yeah, you're
video.
right. Yeah, that's true. I did say that on purpose. But
Nice.
you are in these groups. So did you get airdrop? Did you choose an airdrop for those packs?
So yeah, like I guess for me, good or bad, I kind of try to dominate the common and the rare streets. I like to be kind of comprehensive, so to speak, and have a lot of rare sets and common sets. But I actually don't have a single legendary set. Like I have some legendary moments. So I think the pre-choice or whatever for spots was for people with legendary sets. So I didn't
Oh,
get in on that. But the pre-sale that's going on right now, I did go for. And part of it too is, because yeah, my Top Shot score is over 5 million. So I really like the TSS based kind of cash back on the purchase,
yeah,
and it kind of incentivizes the holding and kind of gives me something back for holding. And so ultimately, the packs are going to be $300 for me.
that's cheap.
Um, so yeah, like so I kind of feel like obviously with a lot of others I'm down bad a little bit, so I feel like to get a little bit of value back I need to take advantage of these opportunities. So that's why I felt compelled to go for it. Plus the ones that are in this like Luca and Jaw are pretty solid. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'll necessarily flip. Maybe I'll probably do a bit of both, like flip what I don't want and keep others that I do want. um, so I went for it. If it was, $1,000 like it was a year or two ago, like I
Right.
definitely would not be going for it. Maybe if it was 500, I wouldn't go for it. I don't. I'm not a big gambler. I don't like okay, I take this and maybe if I hit, I get 5,000. But if I the chances are I'm not going to hit and I'm going to end up with $200. I don't really like that. I like to collect and often if it's like a good moment, if I pull a Luca legendary, which I don't have, like I'm going to keep that. And
Sure.
I'm kind of weird. I call them my virgin moments, the ones that don't have transactions on them.
Okay, interesting
I'm the
name
only
choice.
one that's kind of been intimate with these moments.
Oh my gosh.
Um, so I like to keep good moments that I pull in packs for that reason.
Hold on, you deserve a couple clips. First of all, well, tell me why you're calling him that. And second of all, you said down bad a few times, so
I am never going to financially recover from this.
all right. Well, I feel like we need to watch a video of puppies or something after that description.
Oh, sorry, it's family oriented show. I apologize.
I didn't realize this was going to become a show for people who get intimate with their Top Shot moments. We need a disclaimer at the beginning of the show. Well, let's see. Well, to turn a total 180, why don't you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about, did you ever cut open a frog? You are a scientist. Did you study science in college? Did that require cutting open a frog? Did you cut open dead bodies? How much of a freaky old scientist were you in college, in uni?
So college, like none of the above. Maybe in junior high we dissected some animals. I guess I can explain why I call myself a mad scientist.
Okay.
So yeah, so my parents are both like basic science researchers. They have their PhDs. My dad researched like scarring for burn victims and try to reduce the scars and develop like an artificial skin substitute that's not
Wow.
rejected by the body. So science and my parents always wanted us to be doctors and whatnot growing up, as many like immigrant parents are that way. So
Black
my
Mercedes, true or false? Black Mercedes? Does someone in your family drive a black Mercedes?
no, no,
All right. I'm just
no,
trying to see
we're
if
not that cliche.
the
We're not
cliche
that
works or
cliche
not.
Iranians.
Okay.
um but yeah, so I guess my last name might as well be scientist.
Mhm.
And then I was in a basic science like le- summer job, and I was doing some experiments, and I was like working late and running my experiments in the lab by myself, and that's when the moniker came to me. So I was like, I became a mad scientist before I coined the term, basically. And then I'm a pharmacist, in my day job. So obviously that's based in science, and read a lot of scientific articles and journals through school and whatnot. And so yeah, that's where. And then a mad scientist is the play, right? So and people struggle with my name, so it's a way for them to remember it too.
So you did dissect creatures, and so you were doing science late at night, and that's how you coined yourself the mad scientist? Or is there more to that story? Like, what, doesn't a mad scientist have to do like crazy experiments and like put a frog's head on a human's body or something?
Yeah, I haven't done those, but yeah, I was just doing like bench science, with test tubes and pipettes and things of that nature. But
But aren't those the kind of science experiments you do in like grade school? How are you the mad scientist? I need something a little more juicy here.
yeah, like I'm sorry. See, I'm still. It's maybe a prophecy of a name.
Okay.
Maybe I'm still going insane as well, and my best recent experiments are yet to come. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I haven't done crazy experiments. I definitely don't want to experiment on living things
Yeah.
for my own means. But yeah, that's all I got for you, Tandy. The Tandy man.
Thank you. So it looks like you got a fan in the chat, Spence. He's like, Ahmad's being modest. Tell the people what you do. So I know we talked before the show a little bit that he helps thousands of people per year. So is he referring to the work that you do with harm? What's it called again? Harm reduction.
Yeah, harm reduction. Yeah, for sure. I don't know about thousands, but maybe, indirectly. But yeah, basically I own my own pharmacy, and we basically work with the largest nonprofit it's called the Downtown East Side. It's somewhat like notorious in Canada. It's the like some people call it the kind of poorest postal code in Canada, and it's a place where there's a lot of folks that struggle with mental health and addiction challenges. So I work with a nonprofit that provides low income housing, and then the cool thing is that the nonprofit has a clinic embedded in the building in the housing. So we're sort of bringing the care to them. So there'll be a doctor and a nurse there, and then I employ pharmacists and nurses, and we do medication programs where we're providing basically what's called opioid replacement therapy, like methadone or Suboxone, and this is to replace folks using illicit, heroin or fentanyl, and try to prevent drug overdose. So in British Columbia, the province I'm in, 7 people die from drug overdose every day. And so yeah, I'm kind of lucky because the doctor I work with is one of the best doctors in Canada, and I guess this is maybe some of the I don't know if I want to call it experimentation, but we are doing some sort of cutting edge things and trying to develop new molecules and new treatments for folks with opioid use disorder, and things like methadone. They were studied when people were using heroin on the streets, but nowadays when it's fentanyl, it's way stronger. By giving them methadone, it's sort of like taking a knife to a tank fight. So you're woefully inadequate in terms of meeting their tolerance and meeting their needs. So yeah, so we kind of started a program called injectable opioid agonist therapy. So we provide injectable hydromorphone. We don't do it, but there's a clinic in Vancouver that actually provides injectable diacetylmorphine, so injectable heroin. Might blow some minds away in the U.S., but where you are actually in Europe, they're pretty forward and progressive on that. And yeah, like another treatment that we've kind of helped pioneer was a fentanyl patch. So there's a fentanyl patch that's used for palliative care for people with cancer pain, and basically we started using that for folks with opioid use disorder because, again, if we're talking about opioid replacement therapy, we want to replace them with the molecule that they're actually using. And while fentanyl is very powerful, the issue is they don't know how much they're taking when they buy it off the street, whereas in this case it's prescribed and dosed accordingly, and we slowly kind of get them to target dose and whatnot. So yeah, it's pretty neat because we kind of help develop these protocols and treatments, and then the health authority kind of adopts it, the province adopts it, and other parts of Canada are kind of inquiring. So I'm trying to get more involved and try to consult and help kind of spread the knowledge in terms of what we're doing. So yeah, there's more that we get involved with, but I guess you could say that's kind of Ahmad Scientist as well, that we're trying to find a solution because from my vantage point, not to make this all about harm reduction, but we call it preventable deaths. So in my opinion, we should have zero, or at least strive for it. And that might not be super realistic, but we can try. And if we don't get 100%, maybe we'll prevent 90% type thing. So yeah, so that's kind of what we do in our work, and yeah, want to make a change there. And yeah, like I think people kind of write folks off, and also people think, oh, it's just low income poor people are the ones dying, and so whatever, or homeless people, but it is affecting all walks of life and society, and it's a real problem, and it's ultimately because this is in the illicit market. Like, could you imagine if every like Stella beer or a certain type of beer had a 1 in 1,000 chance of causing instant death? What would happen? They'd have to recall that lot, and there'd be systems and procedures to change that. But right now, it's just in this black market, and this in the dark, and so we can't do anything. And then if you're addicted, you don't really have any other option. So yeah, one just I'll end with a final analogy. Like when we talk about kind of getting people in like recovery and whatnot, I think that's a great goal. But we kind of want them to climb the mountain. We want them to get to the top of the mountaintop. Okay, let's give them some climbing gear and mountain equipment and food and whatnot, everything they need to go. But with the drug supply being as it is, it's like people are in quicksand. So do we need climbing, equipment, or do we need to get some freaking rope and get these people out of the quicksand, get them on solid footing first, where they're not in this constant cycle? Then we can maybe, hopefully, kind of get people to start climbing that mountain.
Yeah, it's that is would you say that that's the work that you focus the most on right now, like trying to spread awareness about this injectable, as you called it, I forget the technical name, but
Yeah, it's a
is that your focus?
opioid treatment. Yeah, that's the main focus of our work. It's not as much spreading, that's kind of on the side, but we, with the nonprofit we have a specialty clinic. So just helping directly the folks that we work with is kind of the focus. And being a business owner, there's all those challenges that come with it too, with HR and whatnot. So.
Well, it's amazing stuff. I guess that definitely slots closer into the mad scientist, like the benevolent mad scientist, I'd say.
And the
Um,
bling as well.
yeah, you got the bling and the virgin moments. Very, but very, very interesting. I'm glad we could educate people on little tangential issues. People love the tangentials. Where's that drop? Here it is. Hold on. That's right. We take you on a tangential trip around the internet, or for interesting guests, teaching you about things like harm reduction and amazing achievements and things that you can give burn victims to cover up their skin, and the body doesn't reject it. That's what we talk about on the show. Daniel had a question up above, which was, what kind of drugs are you giving people who are addicted to Top Shot?
Yeah, we have some tranquilizers, basically just gonna knock you out.
Yeah.
Step away from the keyboard.
Yeah, there's a guy I follow on Twitter. I don't know if you've seen him. I think it's like RWTJ or something like that. And every single day he's talking about his latest purchase, his latest cereal that he bought. He's like, nobody tell my wife. That's probably one of the most entertaining Twitter users. Do you know who I'm talking about or no?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
All right, I'll
The
find him.
internal dialogue is messed up there.
Yeah. Anyway, I find it entertaining. Let's see what else we got here. You got any hot NBA playoff takes? We're almost at the playoffs, I think. How much time we got left for the playoffs?
Yeah, hot takes. Yeah, it's shaping up to be exciting. Hot takes. I mean, yeah, I guess I think the Lakers should be watched out for, because with LeBron. Spicy. Yeah, that's a spicy one. I think you never want to count out LeBron.
Hold on, where's it spicy?
Yeah, give it to me.
Spicy.
So you think the Lakers have a run in them?
I think they could. They've been looking a lot better since they made all those changes. And then with LeBron, you can't count him out, right? Like the the greatness is there. Plus, the thing that's impressive is Anthony Davis. This guy should be a MVP candidate every year. He should be a better Giannis. He's basically got all the skill set plus a shot. So if those two sort of decide to like elevate and go to a new level, with some of these guys like Austin Reeves is like balling out, and D'Angelo Russell, finally he's got like a couple good shooters at least around him. LeBron does. So yeah, you can't count him out. The other one is, being a Raptors fan, I've seen the levels that Kawhi can achieve, and the Clippers seem to be playing better. And it's amazing like what they've done with Westbrook and how he's kind of playing the best basketball he has in years. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm always like I'm a homer for sure. So, Raptors obviously are going to win the title. They're going to go from the play-in to
Stop it. Get some help.
because we got the defenders. I'm a huge Scotty Barnes stan. And yeah, we got you don't want to face OG Anunoby. You don't want to face Pascal Siakam, and the way we can lock you guys at the clamps. The clamp set is going to be a Raptors logo next year after we see what they do in the playoffs.
Okay, well, listen, you gotta root for your home. You gotta root for your team. So I don't blame you. But you're not a Grizzlies fan. They used to play in Vancouver.
Yeah, actually, I didn't unfortunately live in. I lived in Edmonton when the Grizzlies were here. But if they were in Vancouver, I mean, it's really a shame because if the Grizzlies were in Vancouver and the Thunder were in Seattle, look, those are the two of the most exciting young teams like in the league, right? So
Right.
yeah, it's a shame. I would have been probably attending those games a lot more, a lot. So it sucks because they're exciting teams, and it's kind of. Have you seen when like they wear the Vancouver Grizzlies throwback jerseys?
Right.
On one hand, I definitely want a John Morant Vancouver Grizzlies jersey, but at the other hand, it's kind of like an insult. It's kind of a slap in the face, a little bit, like, oh, you stole our team. That's great. Like, sell some jerseys, bud.
Yeah,
And the
I
guy,
know.
the owner, just totally like lied through his teeth when he bought the team. Like, oh no, I'm not going to move the team, and then boom, just like that. So I've kind of given up hope that Vancouver would get another team, but Seattle, like, come on, let's get
Yeah,
it together.
it's ridiculous that Seattle still doesn't have a team. I mean there's a lot of real diehard fans out there. It's stupid. Um,
Yeah.
so Davey
So
wants to know, although what's your, I'm guessing, above board drug of choice? What kind of vices, like it doesn't have to be illicit drugs, but what kind of drugs does a pharmacist take?
yeah, so with the risk of the College of Pharmacists, watching this, I'm definitely going to have to go with coffee. Some good old caffeine. I recently purchased DeLonghi coffee brewer. It grinds from bean right in the machine. It
There you
grinds the
go.
beans and right into the brew. I love a good brew. So yeah, that's Davey. Davey's my boy, but he's gotta watch it with the questions.
Davey's trying to honey pot you or trap you.
Yes,
Uh,
this is my YouTube debut, buddy. Take it easy.
yeah, take it easy. This is the beginning of a great YouTube career right here. Um, what else, chat? You got anything else for our man here, Ahmad Scientist? What about other interests away from the computer, away from the pharmacy, away from the NHL stadium? What else are you into, Ahmad?
Yeah, like I'd say like definitely like movies and whatnot, and I'm a big Marvel fan. I could tell you actually when I started collecting NFTs, my wife Frances, loving, adoring wife Frances, um, really
I
started
think
getting into like
you're gonna
collecting.
clip this later, aren't you?
I recently married, so I gotta keep the positive vibes
Oh,
going
there you
here.
go. How long you been married? You still in that honeymoon phase?
Well, so November 19th. So, but how long can I say newlyweds for? Is it
I
six
think I
months,
think you
a
could do that
year?
for a year.
A year? Okay, so yeah, we're still newlyweds.
All right.
Um, but yeah, she started collecting Funko Pops. Are you familiar with
Okay.
these
Yeah,
contraptions?
the big head things.
Yeah, so the big head, little collectible toys, and yeah, we have like two closets full of them now, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
like out of control. So basically, we love the MCU and watching Marvel movies, Disney Plus, and so we basically try to collect like Marvel movies through that. I do actually collect some NFTs through. I don't know if you've heard of VV app, but
VB
I'm.
app?
It's called VV.
Oh, VV. Yeah, I know that. That's
Yeah,
like the Marvel again, like the superhero little rotating 3D characters.
yeah, they have the characters, but the cool thing there too is they have comics, like full
Hmm.
readable comics, and they have like the Grail comics, like the first ever Marvel, Amazing Fantasy 15, the first appearance Spider-Man, etc. So yeah, I'd say Marvel and whatnot, and then yeah, traveling, um, yeah, different shows and whatnot. Succession, it's, episode 2. I don't know if you watched Succession, but
I tried getting into that show. I couldn't really, it didn't really strike a chord with me. I watched like maybe 4 or 5 episodes. It didn't, maybe I need to keep going, but I didn't love it. I know a lot of people love it.
I say like maybe watch at least like the first season. Yeah, the first four, Kendall Roy, like the oldest son, is like, or maybe not the oldest son, second oldest son, can be incredibly annoying. And he might still be annoying later, but yeah, it gets better for sure from that angle. But
Yeah.
yeah, what else is there? Yeah, great restaurants in Vancouver. Good, I like to eat. Um, yeah. What else is there? Music. Yeah, the normal stuff, I guess.
Yeah, we had some other questions here. What's your favorite sweet? Do you have a favorite candy bar?
So I'm a chocolate guy.
Me too. Chocolate unite. Chocolate fans united.
Yeah, so if I'm gonna like put some sugar in my body, it's a waste unless it's chocolate based.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, so I'd say probably Reese's Pieces. I love the chocolate peanut butter marriage is one for the ages. So I'd have to say that one for a chocolate bar. Yeah.
All right, good call. I also like the Reese's cups. Reese's cups are
Yes.
fantastic. Is
It's
it
crazy though,
true?
the
Yeah,
Reese's.
go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, yeah, it's crazy how many like types of bars and M&M style Reese's, and this one you have the bar with the Reese's, the yeah, it's just so many different machinations that they've come up with.
They really have. They've made it a whole gamut of products. More Reese's products than there are Marvel movies. And that's saying something.
Yes.
Um, yeah, you know what? So though I saw so sometimes I see these guys on TikTok that like, these people who want to say they have the key to great health and they're telling you what you absolutely can't eat. And then sometimes I see these guys say like sugar causes all disease. And I'm like, no, don't say this. What's your take on that? How bad is sugar actually? Is sugar really like causing all the disease in human beings? And we really should avoid sugar like it's the worst thing on earth.
I think yeah, it's probably similar to what we were saying earlier. It's about like how much and the quantity, right? Like I don't think you can have a hard fast, it's good or bad. Um, but I don't know if it's like all disease, but at least like definitely cardiovascular type diseases for sure. But yeah, I guess I'm not smart enough to know whether mental health issues are being caused by that. But if things in moderation, and if you have an active lifestyle, if you have a dessert, like once a week or whatever, I don't think it's the end of the world. But if you're gorging on ice cream before bedtime every night, then yeah, it's probably not good for your insulin regulation and whatnot.
Okay,
But
good.
yeah, whether it's the source of all disease, I don't know. I just think any sort of like generalization is just wrong. It just
Right.
fails to recognize the nuance of it all.
That's what gets you the TikTok likes. That's why you gotta go over the
Yeah,
top.
and inflammatory stuff, right?
And so Spence wants to know your top 3 moments on Top Shot. Do you have
My
top 3
top three,
moments?
like in my collection, or just
I suppose, or maybe just your favorite moments.
I'd say so. The OG Ananobi semifinals from S1 is one of my favorite moments. I get a little bit of flack. It's against your Celtics,
Mm,
where Lowry, it's in the bubble, and there's half a second left. So I was at a wedding, one of my wife's close family friend's wedding, and the dad was in the middle of his speech, and I had the game streaming on my phone on the table, and all hope was lost. We were down 2-1, I think, in the series, down by two with half a second left, and Lowry just chucks it across. He grabs it, hits the three, and then OG's like classic like flat effect, doesn't even have any reaction. So in the middle of the like dad's speech, I just threw the threes up in the air, and I was just like couldn't resist, and Francis pulled my hand down. So I was like that as soon as I saw that was like one of the first ones I got like in 2020. I was like, okay, I remember that moment. I remember where I was. So that was one that kind of resonates with me. Um, and then I'd say, I'm a huge Scotty Barnes fan, so his debut um, is just awesome, and I remember watching that, and actually I saw him like being interviewed, and he was telling one of his teammates like, "Oh, do you remember? You know what my move was for my first ever bucket?" And it was the sky, like kind of like a sky hook. So definitely Scotty Barnes. Um, what else is there? Yeah, I don't have it, but the LeBron anthology one is amazing. I would love to get my hands on that one day. Maybe our Roro could give us another rake back or something. I can buy that one. So yeah, I'd say maybe I'll go with those three.
Good call. I think there was like one other question, then we'll let you go. But this one, I'm guessing the answer is no. I'm guessing you have not ridden on Drake's airplane. And then your boy
No.
Tony Kornheiser. Will you ever be able to surmount the Goliath that is Tony Kornheiser once I draft Wemby? Why is he going to draft Wemby? Doesn't that mean he's going to have like the worst pick in the draft? I mean, like he's going to have the worst team, so he'll have the top pick in the draft?
So I played him in the playoffs this year, and I beat him. Unfortunately, I went to the finals, and I lost in the finals. It's gut wrenching, man. These teams benching players in the middle of my fantasy finals, like
Oh, yeah.
it's very frustrating. But yeah, I've beaten Tony Kornheiser in the past. I'm gonna beat him in the future. It don't matter, Wemby. If he drafts him, Wemby's, I hate to say it, but he might not stay on the court all the time with those lanky stick figure body that he's got. So, and Tony Kornheiser, his development system on his fantasy team is just horrendous. He doesn't provide proper nutrition, training, all the things that my team's called the bomb squad. We have all those. We develop our players. So I'm not scared of him. He likes to talk a lot of smack. This Tony Kornheiser guy, but we've had some close matchups though. Like this year, we did the category head to head, and we're literally came down to like the last bucket, the last like 5 minutes. This guy got a turnover, and they were tied in turnovers. We played each other in the like consolation finals a few years ago, and that led me to being able to draft Luka Doncic, and it came down to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who he had haphazardly dropped earlier in the season. I picked him up. Shea got a block. We were actually hanging out together, and he got a block, and I went above him. So basketball gods typically are in my favor. I guess I should mention that he did beat me in the finals last year to win a championship. I respect him for that, but vengeance will be mine. On
And
the
do you guys, does
Tony
your fantasy
Kornheiser.
league, so are the people in your fantasy league, do you guys all sort of live near each other? And in that way, does the loser have to do something like embarrassing or no?
So most of the guys live in Edmonton. Me and TK are in Vancouver. Uh, exactly. I love talking about my fantasy teams. I love people hearing me talk about my fantasy teams. But yeah, they're in Edmonton. The loser of the league has to pay for like the draft, the food on draft night.
Oh, all right. I was expecting something a little more embarrassing, like you have to wear a dress. Well, I guess I can't say that anymore. I don't know. You gotta do
Wow.
something, something
Am I gonna get
embarrassing.
canceled being on this stream?
Yeah, I think I just got canceled. Bud Light's definitely not sponsoring me anytime soon. Let's just see. I feel like there's one other thing here. D Jack saying, "What is your second favorite Top Shot team community?"
So like, who's my first? I guess
Is your first the Raptors?
it would be the Raptors, but I haven't had Well, so yeah, like I'd definitely be the Blazers then, for sure, because that's the closest NBA arena to me. And Rip Pack City is awesome community and been really gracious. And I've gone down for 2 games, and got, free tickets and got to meet other collectors. So yeah, definitely. So some Raptors people came down for the Raptors game in January. So I did, I guess, in theory, kind of get connected with the Jurassic Pack that way. But yeah, it'd be great to go to Toronto and hang out with kind of the captains and the core team there.
Awesome. Well, I guess I don't really have much else. I know last couple of weeks we've been jumping to playback, but I'm kind of exhausted today, so we'll have to do that another day. But I did have actually one clip I didn't play for you yet. I'm trying to think what would be a good place to use it. I'm not sure, but we're gonna do it anyway. Since you said you think the Lakers have a good chance, and I'll just say that they don't, and I'll play this clip.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
We're supposed to
Right.
use that clip just when we're talking about something that's like sad and gut punching, but I just liked it and we didn't use it today, so I feel like we had to. Thanks for the props, Top Shot Tesla. Missed the interview. Shout out to any Raptors fans though.
Nice. Raptors. I wanted to just one comment if I could.
Go ahead. The stage is yours. You want the floor? Boom.
Sure. Oh, wow. Here we go. I think the key, Top Shot people, they need to realize, what their secret sauce is. And my opinion is the secret sauce is that feeling you get by owning a moment that you have a personal connection to. Either it was a big game where, like my OG Ananobi one, where I remember where I was, I remember what happened. So they need to find a way to deliver that into the hands of real NBA fans. And I think like with the Top Shot Tour event, for example, you got to get a moment from that game. Like if I go to a game, to me, the reason why I thought this whole concept was pretty cool is because if we go to a live NBA game right now, when we're walking to the subway to go home, what are we talking about? We're talking about when Giannis took 2 steps from the 3-point line and then he was dunking, he was flying in the air. Those are the things we remember, and so that's why Top Shot, they basically found a way to bottle those up and sell them. So I think it'll resonate for fans if I go to a game, literally the best play of that game I can then own. I can have that memorabilia. Like all those people who were there for LeBron's record-breaking shot. Yeah, they have their photo. Why do they all have their cameras up? Because they want some sort of keepsake
Yep.
from that moment, from that game. And that's exactly what we got here. So they have to play into that, I think, a little bit more. And it ties into the in arena activation. I went to Summer League and when they had that booth for the first time and, a light bulb went off, it's kind of that light bulb moment. So, yeah, I think the in arena from games you actually attend, like in real time, is something that can really get that light bulb moment that we need more people outside of our ecosystem to get.
I 100% agree with you there. Jay Metz, who's a frequent guest on the show, says the same exact thing. We need to give moments to the people that are actually at the stadium, and also like align it closer with what's actually happening. So by being a big fan of the NBA, you get rewarded, and so like this recent, I think it was the Markel Fultz challenge. That was like the first challenge in a long time where if you held a bunch of Markel Fultz, you were closer to that reward. And it was
Mhm.
deflationary. You had to like burn and lock up two to get one back or something of that nature.
We get to
So
lock one and burn one.
yeah. So like though those kind of decisions are great steps. I think what we've seen in recent history or recently with NBA Top Shot is they'll have some really good ideas, some really good deflationary ideas, but then they'll like offset it with some other inflationary action like literally 48 hours later. And that's the part that
More
can be
packs.
and that's what's so frustrating, but it's like that's how they make their revenue. But that's what's so frustrating because if they really did just lean into that really hard, I feel like
Mhm.
you'd see such a sea change of sentiment among the entire Twitter community, and like Nakamigos is a great example that like you can create sentiment from nothing. You can create
Mhm.
sentiment about like pixelated crappy artwork that, you know, I mean, the Nakamikos are kind of cool looking, but why are they pumping like they are? It doesn't really make any sense. And so you can create it from almost anything. And I feel like Top Shot could definitely get back there if they could defeat what a lot of the naysayers, a lot of the critics have to say about them. But every time they release hundreds of thousands of more packs, it just gives more ammo to the naysayers. It's not exactly working in their favor. So even as much as they can validate it and say, well, how else are we supposed to tell the story? Well, then figure it out. Do it another way. Do it through birding. Do it through crafting like Dr. Seuss stickers are doing right now. Figure it out. You can do it.
Yeah, like the playoffs, like if they do a banner year type style, then you have the team moments. Have team moments for the whole playoffs, and then have maybe the conference finals and the finals. That's it. We don't need any like individual player round one, round two, round three commons, whatever.
Agreed.
And maybe make it out of 500 or whatever. I guess, yeah, like I guess a hopeful comment is, as much as Top Shot can sort of play God and pump out supply, I'm hoping that they can play God in the opposite direction and reduce supply. And I'm not sure why they haven't been a little bit more drastic with trying to reduce things. But hopefully they're just being slow and cautious or something. But yeah, they hold all the power. And with Funko Pops, for example, we saw there was a news article that like $3 million worth are ending up in landfills and whatnot. So that's another positive thing about NFTs. Like we don't have to wreck the environment with your oversupply problems. We can, and it's easier to adjust those things down. So yeah, hopefully they kind of get in tune, because to me it's like this early stuff should be more scarce. And say the masses do come on board, they can always mint more.
That's
They
what I
have
said.
a minting machine ready to go.
Exactly. And they can do it
Like
so quickly too. They can literally do it the next day. It's not like there's a delay. They can do it immediately.
Yeah, and like series two, they had like the eight, like even now it says 8,000 CC plus on the base, and that means, oh, we could increase that mint count anytime we want. And when it goes LE, like back in the day in January 2021, when they made series one go LE, that's when things started going up. But they never really used that lever very much. Like, so start really low and then use the lever. I guess there's other things like maybe then the early packs have all the lower mints in them, so I can see some of those issues. I don't know all the factors that go into it, but it seems like they can always make more. But putting that sentiment, getting that sentiment is not something they can easily get back. So yeah, at the same time too, like for me, I really, I don't know, I'm weird. I just really like owning these things, like, and some of them like the OG Ananobi, I don't know if I'd like want to sell or whatever, or if the Raptors win a title, or if I get the Kawhi shot, like I really just want to own them. And we need more people who just want to own NFTs for the sake of it. There's no other strings attached. You're just owning it to own it. And I don't think there's enough people right now in the ecosystem, um, especially for the supply that they have, right? Like, obviously we all kind of want both. I want to be able to flip some stacks and make out well and financially. But I do want to collect and have sets and kind of show off my collection and whatnot. Um, but yeah, hopefully that'll come with time and maybe a younger generation or whatnot. We can dump our bags on their heads eventually, right?
Exactly. Well, I think that's a perfect place to end the conversation. Hopefully those of you that wanted a t-shirt will get one. And I hope you thanks again, Ahmad, for making your premiere appearance on my show. You are yet another one of my beautiful, untouched, clean guests. I won't use your terminology. You're my virgin guest here.
Oh, wow.
Every other show you go on after this, you will already be tainted because you are only clean on my show. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I have the Tandy Man Musk on me forever now.
Oh boy. But anyway, thanks for the work that you do, and thanks for sharing your story with us. And
For sure.
yeah, we'll do it again another time. And good luck to your Oilers and your Raptors, as long as they're not facing the Celtics.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate you having me on and being able to connect with the Tandy Man community. And I've been a fan and watching your streams, from the beginning. So yeah, keep up the good work. You're a man of the people. And yeah, appreciate you.
All right, man. Well, take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Sounds
See
good,
ya.
buddy. Take it easy.
Static Selector.